Greetings, this is Senbiance VIP Magazine VIP TV News, and I am Rohicham. First, our headlines. Government Transport Union reached consensus. Maifati calls for end of two-tribal bigotry. Teranga FM boss escaped due to bribery. Minister of Trade says Banjul breweries are selling their assets. Trade Ministry to consider reopening video clubs and other things. Zakir Naik says Jammeh was removed because he listened to his advice. Tambedu resigns as Gambia's Justice Minister. Now the news in details. Government Transport Union reached consensus. Omar Cisse, the president of the Gambia Transport Union, has told the point that his union and government have come to consensus on certain terms following drivers' sit-down strike on Monday. These terms include provision of countrywide garage space. We have visited so far various locations within Banjul and its environs. Also, we now carry 75% load passengers in contrast to the initial 50%, he said, explaining that if a vehicle carries 10 passengers as full load, it will now be 7 passengers. It was also agreed for police to reduce unnecessary checkpoints across the country. Maifati calls for end to tribal bigotry. An attack against any ethnicity is an attack against all. Tribal bigotry and hostility must not be permitted. May Ahmad Fati, the leader of Gambia Moral Congress, told the point. Reacting to different audios, including the one being sent to the latest female presidential aspirant, Marisok, a content insulting the Mandinko ethnicity. Mr. Fati said that the frequent targeting of the Mandinkas is unfair and unacceptable. He blamed former President Yahya Jammeh, who he said propagated and perfected the art of vilification and contempt against Mandinkas. There appears to be a definite pattern in what seems to me as an established trend targeted against Mandinkas, Mr. Fati added. Each incident swells and dies with impunity. From Yahya Jammeh, who propagated and perfected the art of vilification and contempt against Mandinkas, to his ilk. Irresponsible politicians like Lai Sen and other creative tendencies and practices to undermine the moral strength of the largest ethnic group. We will no longer stand askance and allow criminals insult our elders and tribe. I will not be silent out of political convenience or correctness. Wrong can never be right, and something must be done about this according to law. The Gambia government, through the Ministries of Justice and Interior, must ensure that these criminals are identified, arrested, and prosecuted. Our criminal justice system must adequately respond to this dangerous trend to avert a potentially more serious threat. Tribal issues are very sensitive politically, but not potentially corrosive as well if ignored. We must be bold and talk about it without fear of being labeled. No one should insult an entire tribe like the Mandinkas and expect nothing. Enough is enough, he concluded. Teranga FM boss escaped due to bribery. Ibrahim Binjai, former prison officer, said in his testimony yesterday before TRRC that prison's chief officer Khalilu Sane was bribed to help the escape of former Teranga FM boss Ablai Cisse from Maritu, the central prison state. He testified that Ablai Cisse had a problem with the president and was detained. Adding, when Cisse was admitted at the hospital, he was assigned with one Idrissa Manga to guard Cisse at 10 p.m., admitting that was his first time to guard a prisoner. Around 12 p.m., the witness testified that Chief Officer Khalilu Sane visited them and chatted with the prisoner and gave him $100 to buy dinner. He added that Sane also sent his colleague to Idrissa to fetch water for him. When I came back, he gave us juice, which we drank. After eating and drinking the juice, we couldn't understand our bodies and we later fell asleep. We woke up around 1 a.m. and realized that the prisoner has escaped. Jai testified that they rushed to different gates in search of the prisoner and later called Mile 2. He added that after calling Mile 2, Chief Sani came within an hour, but he asked them to continue searching and that he will get another officer to help search as well. We searched till 4 a.m., but we couldn't see him. Then we walked towards Mile 2, and upon arrival at Gambia High School, we were arrested and taken to Joshua Prison. Jai stated that Judge ordered him to be taken to the security wing, and Manga was returned to the remand wing. The following day, he testified, David Colley asked for us in his office, and when we arrived, he asked us to wait because NIAs were coming to pick us. Jai said he recognized Goran Jai among the NIA officers who picked them. We were detained at a place that smelled of urine and our hands were cuffed at the gate. I couldn't sit or sleep for hours. I spent 2 months and 3 days at NIA and we were charged and taken to court. The witness continued that during the court proceedings, they were detained at the remand wing for 9 months before they were acquitted and discharged. In his concluding remarks, Jai called on people within and beyond the country to assist him complete the balance owed to his lawyer. Minister of Trade says Banjul breweries are selling their assets. The Minister of Trade on Wednesday told lawmakers that Banjul breweries are resolute on their plan to stop their operation in the Gambia as they begin selling their assets. Honorable Lamin Job said this while answering a question by Honorable Keba Kebaro, the majority leader and member for Kombo South. He said on the 27th March 2020, Banjul Breweries informed the minister that on the 30th March 2020, they will be ceasing operation. He disclosed that the reasons advanced included both economic and financial issues. He said when the ministry discussed with the Banjul Breweries, they were told that the decision came from their board of directors. The company is no longer operating or producing. Its machines are shut down, the staffs have been laid off, and their entitlements fully paid, Minister Job said. He said the government has promised Banjul Breweries that they will be reviewing their letter and will hopefully come up with some remedial actions as per the challenges highlighted as for the economic and technical reasons. The minister explained that a task force was set up comprising of the Ministries of Trade, Finance and Lands, Gambia Revenue Authority, GAIPA, Policy and Delivery Unit of the Office of the President and the Department of Labor. He said during the first meeting of the task force, it was recommended that the Ministry of Trade request the National Audit Office and the Gambia Investment and Export Promotion Agency to work on an investigative report, and the Ministry of Justice provide legal advice to the Ministry of Trade Ministry to consider reopening video clubs and other things. The Minister of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment, by Lami Job, has informed lawmakers in Banjul that they are considering reopening video clubs and other small medium-sized enterprises to ease up the closure which is impeding the lives and livelihoods of the actors in the aforesaid industry. Earlier on Monday, member of Serekunda Halifa Saleh quizzed the minister to indicate whether they have a package for relief or compensation, if any, that has been prepared for owners of businesses like video clubs which have suffered closure. In response, Minister Job said, the government of the Gambia acknowledges the SIMs, including owners of the video clubs, are seriously affected by the pandemic. However, Minister Job said due to economic challenges, the budget constraints the government at the moment does not have a specific relief package for the SIMs. He also indicated that the government, in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, commissioned a comprehensive assessment of the socio-economic effects of COVID-19 on the Gambia. The figures are not finalized, but as when they come up with final figures, it will be made public, Minister Job said. Zakir Naik says Jammeh was removed because he listened to his advice. Renowned Muslim televangelist Dr. Zakir Naik said President Jammeh was dislodged from power because he listened to and followed his advice. Answering a question from a Gambian in Malaysia on the EU pardon, the Gambia to recognize gay rights and the government's perceived silence on the matter, the famed Muslim cleric stated, "I have been to the Gambia a few times and Alhamdulillah, I was very close to the former president, Dr. Alhaji Yahya Jammeh. He asked me this question when I met him the first time in 2014. What is your view that European Union is willing to give 30 million euros to the Gambia, but the condition is that we should make homosexuality legal? I told him that is haram. Without baiting his eye, he said, yes, that is what I considered, and I told them to take their money back. I don't want this money because homosexuality is haram, and I will never make it legal in my country." They put pressure on the weaker countries to follow their agenda. One of the pressures they put in lately is to make sure that all the countries, including the Muslim countries, to agree on the concept of homosexuality, to agree to gay, lesbian, transgender, and to make it legal. This is common, he added. He advised Muslim countries to form a united front against Western pressure to do what is haram. Tambedu resigns as Gambia's Justice Minister. The Gambia's Justice Minister and Attorney General Abubakar M. Tambedu has resigned from the government, the Chronicle has reliably learned. The details surrounding his resignation are unclear, as he was unreached on the telephone. Tambedu was appointed as the chief legal advisor to the government in 2017. He has since been instrumental in the democratization process of the post-dictatorship Gambia. During his tenure, several commissions were established, including the Janet Commission, which has so far recovered millions of dollars of public money that were embezzled, and the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, TRRC, that is currently investigating human rights abuses under former leader Yahya Jammeh. He will also be remembered for leading the Gambia in guaranteeing the protection of the rights of Rohingya Muslims before the International Court of Justice. However, he has also been heavily criticized by some victims for releasing 4 junglers who confessed to conducting killings, which in his justification says it was meant to get evidence required to be at the state's disposal. But he made it clear that releasing those junglers from custody is not an amnesty for them. To end this bulletin, let's recap our headlines. Government Transport Union reached consensus. May Fati calls for end to tribal bigotry. Teranga FM boss escaped due to bribery. Minister of Trade says Banjo breweries are selling their assets. Trade Ministry to consider reopening video clubs and other sims. Zakir Naik says Jammeh was removed because he listened to his advice. Tambedu resigns as Gambia's Justice Minister. This was the end of Senbiance VIP Magazine VIP TV News. I am Maricha.